Hi, everyone. Welcome to English Coach 3Ts. I'm Tanya, and today I have a special guest joining me so that you have the opportunity to listen to this conversation, which is at a natural speed in a real conversation. In this conversation, we use some great phrases and vocabulary, so keep an ear out for that. And here's our conversation. Hi, everyone. I'm here today with Rachel from Rachel Tutors Online. Rachel, would you give us an introduction of yourself and your English teaching platform?
Sure. So I'm Rachel. I have been an English teacher both in the classroom and online for the past 7 years. And I am from the US. I'm from a state called Connecticut, but I'm originally from New York. And actually, Connecticut is just northeast of New York. I always have to tell my students because they have no idea where Connecticut is.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people in the United States have no idea. Well, we have an idea, but we couldn't tell you that specifically, I don't think, most of us.
Yeah, so I just tell them it's just northeast of New York. It touches New York. And then they're like, "Oh, okay. I know where that is probably."
Yes, exactly. So you've always lived in the Northeast
Yes.
part of the United States, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I grew up in New York. I went to college in Massachusetts, which is actually just north of Connecticut. And then when I met my husband, I moved to Connecticut where he's from. And I've been there ever since.
Oh, fabulous. How do you like Connecticut?
I love it. It has a very suburban feel, which I appreciate. I don't really like being in a super urban location, but I also don't like being in rural locations. So I think this is kind of the perfect compromise.
Oh, well, perfect. Yeah, I'm a rural person girl. I love the rural feel, but where I live in Southern California, I can feel totally like I'm in a rural area, and within 45 minutes, I can be in total urban area and
Mm,
Los Angeles and all of that kind of thing. So, but I love the rural feel. So, I've never been to Connecticut. How does it differ
okay.
from New York? I've been to New York, but only a few times. Well, I've only been to the city once a long time ago, and I've been to upstate New York a few times. It's beautiful. It's incredibly beautiful and completely different than this part of the United States.
Yeah, I would say if you've been to upstate New York, that would probably be a good representation of what a lot of Connecticut feels like.
Hmm.
Um, I'm from Long Island, and I would say Long Island is very suburban. It's a little bit more congested than where I am in Connecticut. So in Connecticut, in my town, there is a lot to do, but there aren't nearly as many people as there were in my town in New York. So it's it feels like New York with a little bit more breathing room.
It sounds perfect. Is it really diverse like New York?
Depends on where in Connecticut you are. My particular town, not especially so, but there are plenty of bigger towns or even cities in Connecticut that have a lot of diversity. Absolutely.
Very cool, very cool. Have you traveled to other parts of the United States, like as far as way over? Because I think we're almost as far apart as we can get and still be in the
Yeah.
United States. Since you're northeast and I'm southwest, way southwest and way northeast. Have you been as far as California?
I have. I've actually even been further. I've been to Hawaii.
Oh, wow. Wow. I
Yeah,
would love to go to Hawaii. Did you love it?
absolutely. It was beautiful. And I got to try some, water sports that I had never tried before. Um, I think that was the first time I had tried surfing, and that was a lot of fun. I think the first thing I remember thinking is, wow, it's like snowboarding, but it's not painful when you fall off.
Well, I've only tried surfing a couple of times and it can be painful, but not as it's a different kind of pain.
Right, right. I just was thinking about all the times I've gone snowboarding and just fallen on my butt on the snow or on a particular part of the snow that had more ice than snow.
Yes, or there's a lot fewer trees to run into in the water.
That too. Yes,
I've
absolutely.
never ran into a tree, but I have been scared of that when I've been snow skiing. So,
Hmm.
have you ever been water skiing?
I haven't.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun.
the other thing we tried, well, the two other things we tried while we were in Hawaii were jet skiing and parasailing.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I don't think I knew what parasailing was prior to going to Hawaii and trying it. You're essentially, I was with my younger sister, so we were harnessed together, one in front of the other, and you basically go off the back of a boat and you have a like a it looks a little bit like a parachute, and you just float up into the air and you follow kind of behind the boat, and it was beautiful. It was great being able to see the not only the water but also the land and just the horizon. It was great.
That sounds marvelous. Way better than skiing. Although skiing is fun for a different reason. But so when you went, I've seen parasailing a long time ago when I went to the St. Thomas Island, St. Thomas or
Mm.
St. Martin, one of those. I saw parasailing. Um, do they teach you how first, or how does that go? Do you have like because I know if you parachute, you go with an instructor, which of course is more dangerous, I would guess. I don't know though.
Yeah, I think they kind of gave basic instructions and then just explained that when it was time for us to come down, we would be going into the water. So we just had to make sure we had braced ourselves for that. But I don't recall there being any, it wasn't a long list of instructions. From what I remember, it was pretty straightforward, actually.
It sounds really, really cool. So when you are finished, you just gently
You kind
come
of just
down into the
float down. Yeah.
oh, that's so awesome. And did you start, you may have already said this, but did you start in the water?
Yes. So we went in a boat and they kind of motored out into a little bit further from the shore. And then that's where we took off.
Oh, so cool, so cool. So one of the questions I we had talking about was Rachel's also a new mom, um, which for me is even more exciting than parasailing. I guess it's a mom thing.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about Emlyn, your new sweet girl.
Sure. So, my daughter was born back in March. So, I was just telling Tanya earlier that she will be 6 months next week. And the time has flown. Everyone who is a parent had told my husband and I that time flies. And I I can understand that because, living on my own with my husband before my daughter was born, time was flying. But
Mhm.
when suddenly you become a parent, time really does fly. It's
It
so true.
does. It's like they wind up the time meter or something. Yes, I
Yeah.
have Tiana's my oldest daughter. She's 23 now. I can remember like it was yesterday, those those times of her being an infant, and uh, they're such fabulous times. They're such fabulous times. So I didn't think about this earlier, but has being a mother, you seem like you're an adventurous person.
I
Does
try to be.
yes, do you think that being a mother has changed that at all for you?
I don't think for me personally, it has definitely made me more cautious about certain things.
Of course.
Um, I mean, earlier today, she was in a nursery for the first time with other children without me. And the whole time, I'm just checking my phone to see if she's okay, if they're texting me to let me know something's gone wrong. And she was only there for 2 hours, but my mind is just so focused on her. So I would say I still have an adventurous spirit, and I'm still interested in trying new things. But when it comes to her, I'm the complete opposite.
Yes, yes, yes. I can relate to you because I also was a very adventurous person. Still definitely want to try new things, and absolutely we want our children to have those experiences, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah. I
sure.
think it's just, as a new mom,
Yeah.
because all of this is really new, I just keep thinking she's this fragile little thing that I cannot keep out of my sight. So I definitely want her to have those amazing experiences. Just right now I'm comfortable with just keeping her at home where it's safe.
Absolutely. I can totally relate to that too. It's this, for me, it was like this. I want her to explore the world, but stay right here.
Yes.
Because I think it's so instinctual for us to want to protect our children. In fact, for me, even as they got older, of course, I wanted them to have all the adventures that they could and experience the world and life and everything, except I didn't want them to have any pain. No pain, especially, well,
Yeah.
not especially, but emotionally. I had both girls. My older daughter was actually quieter, but much more adventurous, like to go out and do
Mm.
things. She actually broke her wrist, broke both of these bones off, like her wrist was just dangling there.
Oh my
I
goodness.
survived it. She survived it. um, it was a really hard mom experience, but even after that, I caught myself. I have to remember to allow them to have their pain, and we grow from those things, just like in learning English, right? We grow from those difficult experiences.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I I mean, um, I think it was just, so she was born on a Tuesday, and that Saturday she had to be admitted into the NICU, which stands for the Newborn Intensive Care Unit. And honestly, it wasn't for anything severe. She had some uh, like a more serious case of jaundice, and so they wanted
Mm,
her to stay overnight so they could monitor her. But you know we had just been home for maybe 2 days and she had to go in, and so I'm panicking, and I ended up spending the night. But of course, with COVID, that also meant my husband couldn't stay with us as well. It was just
mm.
me. So my husband is separated from us. I'm separated from my
Oh,
husband. I'm with my daughter, and she's not feeling well. And yeah, it's it's so funny because I think in that moment, I all I could focus on was whether or not she was going to be okay. And I look at her all these months later and think, of course, thank God that she ended up being okay. But
hmm.
you go through those experiences and they make you stronger. They make me realize she's stronger than I think she is,
Yes,
possibly.
yes.
And I'm hoping I can remember that as we continue to move forward in life and as she continues to grow up.
Yes, yes, we have to remind ourselves of these things, I think, as for at least for myself as a mother. That was true for me. But you're right. They're so strong. They're so resilient. They're so amazing. I could talk a lot about my experience when I became a new mom, but I'm curious for you. what has changed for you, or what hasn't changed for you as a new mom that might have surprised you or that you didn't think of?
Hmm. Um, Something that surprised me. Well, I think it surprised me because I didn't anticipate it. I
Mm.
anticipated the regular changes, not being able to stay up late and sleep in. Yeah, that
Yes.
doesn't happen anymore.
No, no, no.
Or, I can't um, go out as easily or make plans as easily. I have to always keep Emmeline in mind. Um, the one thing I hadn't really anticipated was how it would impact my marriage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and in both positive and negative ways. Negative meaning just there were a lot of things that my husband and I had to work through together as new parents.
Of
Um,
course. Mm-hmm.
just, learning how to raise a little person together. So that took some adjusting, but also in a positive sense, I absolutely loved my husband before Emmeline, but now that Emmeline's here and I watch him take care of her and spend time with her and just be so fond of her, I watch that and I'm even more ecstatic about him now than I was when when it was just the two of us. Um,
Yes.
so I would say that was probably the most surprising.
Mm-hmm. It really makes a connection. I think that we don't think about, even still, I'm not married to my children's father anymore, but we are forever connected. And
Mm,
I still see so many of the beautiful things about him in my children, and we're always connected in such a really amazing way. Of course, people all around the world know that, but we don't realize, I think, the extent of it before we have children.
mm,
That we're,
yeah, absolutely.
it's kind of an amazing thing. So Emmeline is 6 months old. So she's, what kinds of things what kinds of, see, native speakers make mistakes. What kinds of
Yes,
things
we do.
is she doing? I had to think about that. What kinds? Oh, because of the S on the kinds. What kinds of things is she doing? I need an English teacher. Thank goodness I've got one right here. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But trust me, I trip up over my words all the time.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. I wish, as an English teacher, I'm taking a little aside here, but as an English teacher, I wish I could convey this to my students. They know it in their native language, but when we're learning another language, I know because I'm learning another language, it is so hard to remember that of course we trip up on things and we make mistakes. And anyway, so I was asking you, what is she doing now? She's probably found her feet. Has she done that adorable thing where she lies on her back and grabs at her toes?
Yes.
I love that.
And she had, this is maybe a month ago now, but she had what we've been calling an existential moment where she's lying back and all of a sudden she notices her hand and that she can move it.
Yeah.
So she's just staring at her hand for a good 10 minutes and thinking to herself, wow, this is amazing. Look what I can do.
I have control over this thing. It is so
Yeah.
amazing. I was just telling Tiana the other day, remembering back when she found her feet, the same thing, like, wow, this is connected to me. And because I don't remember all the milestones, but I know babies discover their hands and are chewing on their hands very soon, like almost immediately. Um,
Mhm.
anyway, there's a pose in yoga. Do you ever do yoga?
I don't. I'm not very flexible, so I just find yoga really painful.
It's all good. It always is funny to me when you ask somebody. I always kind of hate to ask people if they do yoga because I don't know if this is an American culture thing, but in the United States, if you don't do yoga, we're like, oh, I don't like, there's something wrong with me, as opposed to, no, I've never tried that. But there's a pose in yoga, in hatha yoga, where you're lying on your back and you take a hold of your toes and you rock back and forth, and it's called happy baby pose. And it is just like babies when they discover their feet. So I was telling Tiana about that, and even though there was no one here, she was, Mom. Now I'm sharing it with the world. It's such a mom thing. I try not to be like the embarrassing mom, but I would be lying if I didn't, if I said I wasn't a little, I don't know, annoying or embarrassing or something. But for me, having my two daughters is the most incredible, wonderful part of my life. I feel incredibly blessed, incredibly fortunate to have these two beings that call me mom. It's an honor.
I will say, a lot of babies say dada before mama. Emmeline said mama first.
Oh,
So I
go
got that one.
Tiana said wow first. And I was like, wow, your first word is wow. And she used it, she used it in context. And then I realized this was 23 years ago when I talked like on an actual phone, not a cell phone. And I would be talking to people and walking around saying, wow, wow.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So, and Talia's first word was mama, so I felt pretty proud of that. I was very fortunate to spend a lot of time with my girls when they were little, so that was a cool thing. So anyway, so Rachel, thank you for spending a little time with me here today. It was great to get to know you a little bit more, and I love
Thank you
seeing
for having
pictures of
me.
Emmeline. Of course, you're welcome. And tell us a little bit more about how to find you online. I know you have Instagram and YouTube, right?
Yes.
And do
So
you have other platforms?
for both Instagram and YouTube, I am Rachel Tutors English online.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
yes,
cool.
you can find me on both of those platforms. I'm also on TikTok as the online English tutor.
Okay, awesome. And I will, if you send me I don't know much about TikTok, but I will link those below if you send me your link for TikTok. And
Okay, sure.
I know you do a book club and a movie club, right? What all do you have going right now that students could find?
Sure. So right now, I've been branching out of just one-on-one lessons. So I have group classes. I have a book club that runs a few times a year, and I have a movie club that runs every month. And the movie club is something I started over the summer, and that's been a lot of fun.
That's fabulous. I know you've watched some great movies. I haven't caught all of the ones you've been doing. I know there was one or two that I didn't know of before, but I think that's a fabulous way to have a conversation and learn new vocabulary and phrases, probably all kinds of things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I try to include the students in the selection process. So if you haven't seen, if some of the movies you've seen you haven't recognized, there's a good chance I haven't recognized them either because the students recommended them. Um,
Okay.
so we watch 4 movies, so 4 weeks for each month. And I only pick one movie. I let the students pick the other 3 based on their recommendations. So it's also been fun to see what kinds of movies they're interested in. And then I always try to throw in one that's from a different time period. So usually
Mhm.
I'm the one who ends up picking the older movies.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's been fun.
That's why you pick such great movies. Awesome. All right. Thanks again. And I will be looking forward to talking to you some more soon.
I love that. Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you for spending some time with Rachel and I for a natural speed English conversation. If you liked this video or you found it helpful, be sure to give us a thumbs up and definitely subscribe so that you get notifications of upcoming videos. If you're ready to watch another video, YouTube has already picked one out for you right over here. Or if you're ready to try something different, try this one over here. I'm looking forward to seeing you in another video. See you there. Bye.